Okay, guys, I think we're live at the moment. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Okay, welcome to my live stream. Doing some more ginger ale vodka tonight, and so today's going to be a very interesting conversation. It's another Piers Morgan video, um, and if you guys haven't seen my previous Piers Morgan video, I highly recommend you guys do. And like here, this video is interesting. Right here, this video is very interesting because the reason why it's interesting for me is because I'm not a fan of Pearly Things, or Pearl from Pearly Things, also known as Pearl Davis. So I'm not a fan of Pearl Davis, but in this video I am forced to defend Pearl Davis. I have to defend Pearl Davis because Piers Morgan is spewing so much BS in this video. Like, I have no choice. Like, literally, Piers Morgan is forcing me to defend Pearl. Like, I don't want to. I'm not saying, basically, so yes, I don't really like her at the moment. I don't like what she promotes. I don't like how she promotes it. And I think she's a grifter. But I will say this, that I do hope that she will become Orthodox someday, and hopefully she will be able to actually stop grifting and start being more honest and um, not promote. Sorry, I'm losing my ability to talk at the moment. I need to get some more drink. So, anyways, I don't like how Pearl is grifting all the time, and I don't like how she's promoting a lot of this weird BS so-called red pill stuff. But at the same time, I have to defend her right now. I have to take her side on this issue. And it's all because of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan literally ticked me off last time I did a video about him. And so I have to kind of do another video where, I can't let it slide. I can't let this slide, and I have to unfortunately defend Pearl Davis. So thanks a lot, Piers Morgan. Screw you, dude. I have to defend Pearl Davis now. Okay, so let's just watch this video right here.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Pearl Davis is the self-styled anti-feminist influencer who's creating major buzz online with a contrarian view. She's appeared in a couple of debates on this show. It's called Uncensored after all. We welcome any honestly held opinions. But this week, she's facing a major backlash for posting a song titled Why Can't We Talk About the Jews, which she dedicated to far-right commentator Nick Fuentes before later deleting it.
Why?
Okay, so I heard this was like a surprise to Pearl. That's why you guys saw her go to apparently she did not know about the song. She was totally shocked. She was wow, this was totally not something that they discussed prior to them recording this. But yeah, let's keep watching.
Can't we talk about without getting kicked off of YouTube? Now, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I kinda wanna know why. Now there's all these conspiracy theories, and the more they talk, I think maybe they're right. But I can't even listen to the convo.
Well, Pearl joins me now, along with the New York author and founder of End Jew Hatred, Brooke Goldstein, over in the States. All right, Pearl.
Goldstein.
You've come on the show a couple of times, right? We've had some spirited debates about feminism and stuff like that, and I thought you've made some good points, and it's got lots of traction. Then I wake up the other day and I see this thing that's trending involving you doing this song. And I couldn't really believe what I was watching. I didn't know why did you find it funny?
Huh?
Did you find it funny? I mean, you know the backlash to it. I mean, you deleted it. You obviously.
Hey, you find this funny? You think it's funny? No, dude, she's kind of laughing because she's surprised that you did not warn her about this. You just started playing it, and not giving her some forewarning so she could defend herself. That's why she's kind of like, wow, like she's totally in shock. That's why she's laughing, going, huh. That's why. But Piers Morgan, like, strong alpha male Piers Morgan is totally going to dominate Pearl right here. You think this is funny, huh? Yeah.
Thought you shouldn't have posted it. Why did you do that? Genuine question.
I mean, the point was more about cancel culture and people getting kicked off of social media if you finish the song. It was more about, like, you can't talk about this topic without being canceled by the left and the right. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. It was kind of just like tongue in cheek. I didn't really expect it to get that crazy. It wasn't dedicated to anyone. I don't know why they say that, but that's not true.
I mean, Nick Fuentes is a white supremacist. He's a Holocaust denier. He said afterwards that you had dropped a diss track on the Jews, which he clearly took to be something which was, mocking Jewish people, talking about, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. What do you want to know why?
Well, it was more like, why can't we talk about it? It wasn't like
you talked
one
about
way
the
or
more
the
conspiracy
other.
theories you've heard about Hitler and the Holocaust, presumably.
I'm a fan of conspiracy theory. Like, people think I'm part of the CIA. There's a whole conspiracy thing online. And, I'm not for, like, silencing it either way. The point of the song isn't, like, I really have an opinion on the matter. It's more, I don't think we should ban people off of social media. So far so that I think it should be illegal to ban anybody off of social media unless they're inciting violence. That was the point of the song.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what? Like a lot of the social media should basically be nationalized, and it should be totally illegal to ban someone unless they're literally like calling for violence. I totally agree with that. But some art conservative would be like, oh no, that's too much government control. Okay, well, like sometimes a lot of private companies need to be controlled by the government, because Facebook is basically almost like a public utility. Like a lot of people cannot survive without Facebook, and people communicate through Facebook with each other. So it's like basically kind of a public utility. So yes, basically. I agree with Pearl Davis here. It should be illegal to ban somebody, to cancel somebody simply because of what they said. As long as it, stuttering a little bit, as long as they are not calling for violence, it should be illegal to ban them. Like the people who like ban you, they should be then like arrested or something for treason. Like, how dare you violate this person's First Amendment rights or something? But then again, like, this would not work under a constitutional republic because private companies are protected people, so whatever.
I'm not really. It was more like tongue-in-cheek.
But just to be clear, what are the conspiracy theories surrounding Hitler, which you feel the more you hear them, the more you're interested in them?
Well, I don't know because I can't hear them.
Huh?
I don't know
the ones that Nick Fuentes.
Well, I wasn't even talking about Nick. I was thinking of Ye, to be honest. I don't know why they put that Nick was the inspiration for that song. I was thinking of Ye.
You are aware of the big backlash to this and the deep upset from the Jewish community.
I certainly am now. I just posted that song and I woke up and I was like, article. I was like, golly.
Right, but are you sorry?
Crazy. I think that.
Sorry for what, Piers? It's just a song. It's literally just a song. What should she apologize for, right? And she was not inciting any violence. And there's a fly flying around here. And I really can't do anything about it because I'm too concentrated talking to you guys. But anyways, it's just a song, Piers. Like, get over it. Like, get over it, bro. Seriously.
My whole point was that cancel culture is wrong. I am not speaking one way or the other about the issues. My question is, why are we canceled for talking about certain topics?
So you would allow Holocaust deniers to have space on social media to promote Holocaust?
Hey guys, like literally, I miss like the good old days of YouTube when, I don't know, going back to 2005, 2006. I mean, I first heard of YouTube back in like around 2005, and I remember the old copy and paste like format. Like it was not even a link. It was just more like this like video. You just copy and paste it and it just appeared on your post on Facebook or actually MySpace. Yeah, so I remember that like it will be this embedded video player that just plays, right? And then later on, you could actually click on like basically you'd be able to have like a hyperlink with the embedded video. You could click directly; it will take you to YouTube. As the years progressed, you have direct links, and then like sometimes if you post a link, it will not show like the video player. Like there will not be any video player. It will just be a link. But then eventually, as they advanced, like basically like they got rid of the whole embedded stuff, and they just kept the link, and you just copy and paste the link, and the link automatically just has a video player with it already embedded. So like YouTube has like progressed in a way, but like their cancel culture is what's I'd say was what's destroying it. And eventually, like if they just continue like with their whole woke BS, I think they'll eventually just get basically replaced by other companies. Rumble still has like a far like I still think Rumble has a lot of work to do. So they're like I don't think they'll be able to replace YouTube at the moment. Oh, there's that fly I was talking about. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. But anyways, oh, so let's just go back a little bit right here. Oh, right here.
Our Holocaust deniers to have space on social media to
As
promote
long as
Holocaust.
Well, yeah, like here's the thing. Like I have like this third position thing. So I'm not third positionist when it comes to like ideology, I guess, but when it comes to the issue, when it comes to like the Nazis and the tribe arguing with each other whether something happened during World War II, I have more of a third position on this. Like basically, like I simply just say, well, the numbers don't add up, but I'm not saying it never happened. I don't deny that anything happened. I simply say maybe the numbers were a lot lower than what we're being presented with all the time. And so, like, and going back to like the good old days of YouTube, I remember when, like it was popular to just play whatever on YouTube. Like there were so many like videos out there, so many like for so-called forbidden documentaries on YouTube, and a lot of them were basically like neo-Nazi videos, and then there's a bunch of other conspiracy videos that will be conflated with each other. Like for example, like you're trying to be like a good Christian person who's not trying to trust the government, but at the same time you're also being conflated with a bunch of other weird reptilian conspiracy theorists, and you're like, oh no, not all about this. I'm just more like against this right here, but it didn't matter because a lot of people will just kind of conflate that. And I remember the early Alex Jones segments. Like I was listening to Alex Jones before Alex Jones was cool. I was first exposed to Alex Jones probably around, who, I'd say around 2007. Yeah, 2007 is when I actually started listening to Alex Jones on the internet. And like, yeah, and then like eventually I just like, watched a lot of his videos. And of course, a lot of it has to be taken with a grain of salt. But those were the good old days of YouTube. You could literally post almost anything, as long as it wasn't corn, right? Like as long as you don't post corn on there, or any actual like truly like I guess violent videos or something. Like there were violent videos on YouTube too, but like I guess like nothing like super gory or something like that. Um, but yes, although I think there are some YouTube videos that show Gaddafi, like Gaddafi's body being dragged. So I don't know. But yeah, but as long as you like don't show corn, like I remember like people just post anything, like almost anything on YouTube. And like the Natsocks and Nazis, they'll post a lot of their weird stuff. And the problem is that instead of just kind of proving like the Natsocks wrong about World War II and why it was started, instead of simply just educating the Natsocks, the response from the tribe usually is shut them down. Like don't give them a platform. Shut them down. And of course, BLM, they also got involved in this, and basically, anyone who disagrees with them is a racist, right? And so, like this kind of became this popular movement amongst the leftists. How you gotta just cancel people, and so I guess YouTube started like truly canceling people like around probably 2015. Yeah, 2015. I would say that's when the cancellation started to like slowly start kicking in. So yeah, but but I just miss the good old days when like you'd watch the Nibiru videos. And like I was totally like into like the whole Nibiru stuff around 2008 and I guess like around 2009 I just kind of stopped. Like after a while, like after just hanging out with more people and just kind of having fun and just like being social with people, you just kind of don't get into this stuff anymore. So like yeah, and so like I still stayed informed. I still would watch stuff that's more reasonable, right? But when it came to the whole Nibiru stuff and David Icke stuff, yeah, that was trash. That was like temporary trash I was like listening to. But like I'd say at least about like a year and a half, then just kind of got old and boring and disinteresting. And a lot of what they say is basically like pure trash. But but yeah, like but I still like listen to so-called conspiracy theories. I'll tell you guys this, like a lot of what they proclaim to be conspiracy theory, a lot of it is not even a theory. A lot of it is actual like fact. And but like let's it'll take me all night just to kind of get into that whole conversation. So like I'm getting a little sidetracked. Oh, and just kind of like I did mention something about like me questioning the numbers. I remember this one guy, like he kind of already was like almost about to label me like I'd say it like almost like a neo-Nazi, simply because and I straight up told him. I told the guy, dude, listen, like I just have a question about the numbers. I'm not denying anything bad happened. I'm just denying a certain number. Like I think it was a lot less. That was not enough to convince him that I'm not a neo-Nazi. Like he'd not accuse me of that, but he basically already he already kind of had the look on his face like and he goes no, and he was about like I felt like he was about to say, oh, that's anti-Semitic, simply for saying like I just don't think the numbers add up. And yeah, but anyways, like, I got sidetracked. Let's keep watching this video.
Course denial to millions of people. You have 2 million people who subscribe to your YouTube, right? That's a big audience of people.
I'm not at 2 million yet. I'd like to be.
Right, but you have a lot of people that follow you on various social media platforms.
Yeah.
You put a video like that up, and there are going to be some impressionable young minds going, hang on, what's Pearl saying? Adolf Hitler? Not saying he's a good guy, but I want to know why. The more conspiracies theories I hear, the more I have to think about it.
But
I took that. The more conspiracies Hitler, not saying he's a good guy, but I want to know why. The more conspiracies theories I hear, the more I have to think.
So this is where my third position idea kicks in. Well, I guess my third opinion or something. I don't know. Like basically, I do believe that Hitler was a bad guy, right? But at the same time, you know, I do have questions of how come we cannot talk about the tribe? If you cannot mention the tribe, right? Like basically, like doesn't that just prove Pearl's point? You know, well, like and it's not even Pearl's points; it's other people's points too. People are just wondering, how come we cannot talk about the tribal members? Like what? Like if they have nothing to hide, why are they freaking out about this? Right? So, yeah, but like Piers Morgan, he's not getting it. Like basically, like throughout the rest of the video, he's not going to get it. He's just going to keep shilling for the tribe.
Think about it.
But
I took that to mean that you agree with Fuentes.
Why did you cut off the end of the song? I said, but we can't even have the conversation.
What is the conversation you want to have?
Without being canceled by the left and the right. But the point is any speech.
No,
I think
it's not any speech.
speech.
It's not any speech. What is the conversation about Hitler and conspiracy theories and the Holocaust that you want to have.
I don't want to have any conversation. My lane is feminism. That's what
Well, you're
I'm
singing
talking
about Adolf Hitler.
Can I finish?
Yeah, but you are singing about Hitler.
Okay.
So you do want to have that conversation.
I want anybody that wants to speak on social media to be able to speak about what they want to talk about,
including Holocaust
without
denial,
getting banned. Whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah, what's wrong with people exchanging ideas, learning? Like one of the reasons why like a lot of the Nazi movement grew, a lot of like dumb people became like neo-Nazis, is because there was like no one out there to debate them. Like instead of just having a conversation and explaining to them like why, you know, the Germans were not the good guys in World War II, right? Instead of having someone actually just have a conversation with people, you simply just cancel them. And you're just proving them right. You know, they start to wonder, well, wait a minute, I cannot talk about this. This is forbidden. This is forbidden. And to a certain extent, they are correct, because like you start mentioning the tribe. How dare you like bring up this anti-Semitism? Like I'm just asking a question, you know, why can't we talk about this, right? Like why can't we talk about, you know, who controls what? Like it's just curiosity, you know, like if you have nothing to hide, just speak up. Right? But instead of talking, instead of having a conversation, instead of trying to educate and kind of, you know, have people exchange ideas, you're just canceling people. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think I mentioned this in the previous video. Like, Piers Morgan's show is called Uncensored, but it should just be called Censored because, you know, like he's totally speaking out against free speech here. Like, I don't care, like, you know, who says what on the internet. It's the internet. Like, the internet was fun. Like, the internet was a fun place where you could just say whatever you want, you know, and you could find people who agree with you. You could find people who disagree with you. And if you don't like the person disagreeing with you, you could always block them, and you could just have your own bubble, whatever. It was like this fun place. But now, like, a person has to get fired from work simply because they said something online. Seriously?
Holocaust denial.
If they want to talk about that, as long as they're not inciting violence, I think people.
Of course they're inciting violence. They're inciting a hatred of Jewish people.
Social media is the new town square, right? You used to be able to go and say your opinions in the town square. Now we have corporations censoring what can and cannot be said. And I think that's wrong. I think that should be illegal.
Well, let me bring in Brooke, who's been listening to this. Brooke, I don't think Pearl quite understands why the wording of this song, which she deleted, to be clear, so obviously realised this had not played out maybe the way she hoped. The offence is caused to the Jewish community. Why was it so offensive?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on and for highlighting this issue. Not necessarily highlighting Pearl, but highlighting the issue that what you pointed out is that we're really facing a crisis of societal conscience, where someone like Pearl, who engages in hate speech, and actually the irony is she's complaining about being canceled, and yet she's on your platform. She has millions of viewers on the internet and on social media, and she's complaining about being canceled. The crisis is that this is what is profitable now. This clickbait.
The reason why she did not get canceled is because luckily Elon Musk actually controls Twitter. That's why. Had Elon Musk not bought out Twitter, most likely she would have been canceled. Basically the previous owners of Twitter, under their control, if Pearl released that song, and even if she deleted the song, let's say she deleted it, she would still most likely be canceled on Twitter. And probably on YouTube too.
This type of racial incitement is profitable on the internet. And, you know, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to Pearl. I don't know if she...
How's she making a profit? Like, it's just a silly song. Was she selling records of the song? How's she making a profit off this?
She's just plain stupid, or she's actually quite intelligent and knows that what she's doing is so sensational that it's going to make her a lot of money. But I want to say one thing. Pearl will disappear.
Well, if she's well, if this is going to make her a lot of money, like, wouldn't that just make her smart? Like, if this sensationalism would make her a lot of money, would that just not make her like a smart person then? So like um like basically, like, if you act like an idiot, for example, hypothetically speaking, if you act like an idiot and you know you'll profit from this, you're a smart person because you're pretending to be an idiot. So like the logic here just kind of, yeah, it's inconsistent here.
She will disappear like many others before her because this is something that what she's doing is so sensational that it's going to make her a lot of money. But I want to say one thing. Pearl will disappear. She will disappear like many others before her because this is something that's just a
Was that a threat? She will disappear like many others before her. Was she threatening her right now? But like I guess she'll say she was implying that she will disappear. But what's funny is that she's talking about her not being canceled. So eventually, you want her to get canceled, right? You want her to be taken off all the mainstream platforms, right? So like, is that what you mean by disappear? Like you're saying, oh, she's not canceled. She's on your show. Maybe she was brought on the show to eventually get her canceled, to make her super controversial in order for her to kind of like not be a good look for YouTube. YouTube could be like, okay, yeah, we don't want your videos on YouTube anymore. So therefore, yeah, we saw you on Piers Morgan. Yeah, you're totally anti-Semitic, so we're going to cancel you. So yes, so she was brought on Piers. That's probably the whole reason why she was brought on Piers Morgan, was to eventually get her canceled. Eventually, and I wonder what kind of network Piers Morgan is working for, and I wonder who owns it. Just curious, but I don't know if I should be talking about that at the moment. But yeah, what does she mean by disappearing? You just said like, oh, like she's not canceled, she's on your show, but she will disappear. So like, is that like a threat that eventually you will harass her to the point where she'll kind of have to basically stop going online anymore? Like is that what you mean by disappear?
moment in time. She's like a train wreck. It's like a car crash. For example, you can't, you
A car crash? Like, is she threatening her with a car crash? Because she just says she'll disappear, like a train wreck or a car crash. Like, is that what she's planning for Pearl right now? Over a song? Over a silly song? Really?
shouldn't be looking at it, but you can't take your eyes off it. But I want to make one more point. I think it's so important, especially on this platform. Hatred is taught. Nobody is born like this. And I talk about it a lot in my book about the dangers of hate education. And it's not something that we can debate.
Just like Israelis in Israel are born to, they're basically taught from childhood to hate Palestinians. I mean, you just said, hatred is taught. No one's born this way. So in Israel, they teach children to hate Palestinians. So why don't you talk about that?
That we can engage in a rational argument with. You can see what her opinions are. She thinks women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't have the right to divorce. You can see what her opinion is, something that we can debate, that is taught. Nobody is born like this. And I talk about it a lot in my book about the dangers of hate education. And it's not something that we can debate, that we can engage in a rational argument with.
Then why are you debating and trying to engage in a rational argument with Pearl then? This is the point of debates, is to have an education, to educate the other side. Look, I get it eventually if two sides are constantly debating and they're not finding any common ground at all, like they're trying to educate each other, then eventually maybe it'll eventually come to blows in the end. But at first there's this attempt to try to figure out, to try to understand each other. And so I don't like a lot of people who wear nat socks. I don't. But at the same time, I have no problem being friends with a lot of them. I have no problem talking with them and trying to have a conversation with them. Yes, there's people who I talk to and it just does not get through to them. Okay, so what? Like, I could always still talk to them while there's still an opportunity to talk to them and just have a conversation with them. And same thing applies to members of the tribe. Just saying. But like Miss Goldstein's being contradictory here at the moment. She's saying, "Oh, we cannot debate this right now." Okay, so your whole argument is to just cancel the people you disagree with. If I cancel like people who disagree with me, they're not really going to learn anything. They're not going to learn anything. They're not going to think for themselves. Even if I lose a debate, even if I don't convince them despite winning a debate, they could always eventually start to think. Like 2 years down the road, they'll eventually start, doing their own research. They'll still start questioning. So even if I lose a debate, I planted the seeds of questioning in their brain, because what if they are wrong? And eventually, the person 2 years later could change and be like, you know what? You're actually correct. There's nothing wrong with having a debate while there's still an opportunity for having a debate and having a conversation. Like, use it while you can.
You can see what her opinions are. She thinks women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't have the right to divorce. She thinks that women shouldn't be able to...
Based, literally us. No, I have to agree with Pearl here. This is like based. Let's rewind this. Go back to 7:26.
Hate education. And it's not something that we can debate, that we can engage in a rational argument with. You can see what her opinions are. She thinks women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't have the right to divorce. She thinks that women shouldn't be able to work. She says these
I didn't say
crazy
that.
things
Now you're
about
putting words in my
Hitler.
mouth.
But there's
Now you're
no
putting words in my
rational,
mouth.
please don't interrupt. There's no rational argument with someone like this. And this is a mistake that my
Well, you're still attempting a rational argument with Pearl then. You're saying there's no rational argument. Well, what are you doing talking to Pearl then?
Community makes, the Jewish community very often, that they think they can bring facts to the table, that they can debate somebody like Pearl, and it's, you're going to get somewhere. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get somewhere only by shedding the light on this type of bigotry to expose someone like her.
Let me just
the crazy person that she is.
All right, bro. Let me go back to Pearl. Pearl, let me just offer you some advice, right?
Okay.
Because I don't think you're stupid. And in the 2 appearances you've made previously on this program, I thought it was interesting. It was controversial in some ways, but actually a lot of people would have agreed with some of the things you were saying. There's no question about that. But you seem to know where the line was. Someone like Nick Fuentes doesn't know where the line is. Someone like Kanye West, who I interviewed.
That's the point of freedom of speech. There is no line.
After he went on some weird anti-Semitic trope nonsense. Kanye's been wiped out by what he did, or what he said about the Jewish people, because there are certain things where I am absolutely in support of the concept of free speech, right? But you can't go around telling Jewish people the Holocaust didn't happen, as Fuentes
that's
and people like Fuentes does say things like that.
But I'm not him. So you're bringing me up. So it's like,
no, but when you sing a song,
right?
And you talk.
Okay, basically, singing a song where you say, "Hey, I'm just simply asking questions," does not make you a denier of bad things happening during World War II. Like, I don't see the correlation here. You could still simultaneously kind of believe that certain bad things happened during World War II and simultaneously acknowledging that members of the tribe hold a lot of power in a lot of industries.
Talk about
who
Hitler.
Determines what the line is, Piers?
Well, I'm asking
who determines? Do you get to determine it?
No, I'm
Does
asking,
she get to determine
I'm asking you
it?
to.
Who gets to determine what the line is?
I'm asking you to work out in your head.
I'm saying the
you're not
line,
a stupid person.
The line.
When you say, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. right? When you talk about the more conspiracy theories about him I hear, the more I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'm just like agog that even now you don't seem to really grasp why singing that and releasing it to millions of people is incredibly offensive to Jewish people.
I think at the end of the day, Piers, I don't think it's for you to determine what speech should be allowed and not
No,
allowed.
what about you determining? Why did you delete it?
Why did I delete it?
Yeah.
Because it was just a headache, Piers.
Because you knew it was wrong?
It's
Maybe because, it was the smart thing to do, because like she could not risk being canceled right now. Like this is like her income. And despite the fact that I don't agree with a lot of her views, but she basically has her own studio. She has one focus mostly. It's basically trying to basically, talk about feminism. She mentioned earlier, she's just simply talking about feminism. And like her whole focus is this one major topic, right? But then she just sings a song. A bunch of people threaten to cancel her. Hyper controversial. So it makes sense that she cannot risk losing her livelihood. So it doesn't matter whether she thinks it's wrong or right. It's the fact that a little song, is going to get her canceled and she might lose her livelihood. And I don't agree with a lot of her views, that she promotes. Like, I do hope that Pearl repents and becomes an Orthodox Christian. We all should repent. But I do hope that she'll become an Orthodox Christian someday. But at the moment, I don't support a lot of her views. Like, I agree with some of her views, but then there's some stuff that she says that's just literally dumb. But at this moment, I'm forced to defend her right here. And so it makes sense why she deleted the song. Like, this is her livelihood. This is her job. She can't afford to just be out of a job instantly because of a song. So the best logical decision was to delete it. How's Piers? Well, I think Piers Morgan knows this. Like, he's pretending to be an idiot, by the way. By the way, speaking of people being paid for pretending to be idiots, well, there you go. Piers Morgan, right there. He's pretending to be an idiot. He's making lots of money. So he is a smart guy. Like, some of you who are late to the stream, you won't get it. But those of you who watched the stream earlier, you'll get it. Okay, let's keep watching.
I just think it's like, it's not the hill I'm trying to die on.
Right, but why did you choose that hill to die on?
I didn't choose this hill to die on.
You did. You released the video.
No, she did not choose this hill to die on. People just chose to crucify her on this cross for some reason. Like there are so many other things you could grill her for, but this song right here, seriously. Like the song's just asking a simple question: why can't I ask you guys about the tribe? Seriously. Like, how come we can't talk about the tribe?
I also released 10 different videos about
but they're
10
not
different
all
other
basically.
topics
But they're not
day.
talking about Adolf Hitler, are they?
Are we not allowed to talk about him?
You can talk about Hitler right to the point you say the more conspiracy theories I hear about him.
Okay,
like, what do you mean by conspiracy theories? Like, what do you mean by that, Piers? Okay? Like, you don't want people to be educated, to have questions, to have their own thoughts? Like, I listen to a lot of, pro-Hitler stuff, right? And to me, it was just not convincing. Because I have good counter-arguments to that Hitler stuff. Like, so a lot of the pro-Hitler conspiracy stuff, I just have counter-arguments to it. But you don't see me screaming, "Oh, censor Pearl! Censor Pearl! Like, she's talking about Hitler and she's asking questions, why do we run the industry?" You're just proving her point. You're seriously proving her point. And she's right. She's right, actually. Like, I know, like, basically, like, since... Like, I was 18, I started to notice, how come we can't really talk about them? Like, why is this such a tough issue? Like, why are they always virtue signaling? They're also kind of like victim signaling too. They're simultaneously victim signaling and virtue signaling, and just like, it's always them. It's always them. You can't talk about them. Like it's starting to get tiresome. It's all too tiresome, by the way. And people are noticing this. So I guess Piers Morgan is not realizing that more and more people are starting to like question this. Wait a minute, why can't we talk about them? Even if someone agrees with with his show, even if someone agrees with his views, eventually, 1 month later, down the road, they'll kind of have this epiphany, and they'll be like, wait a minute. So why can't we talk about them? Yeah. I think Piers Morgan also kind of shooting himself in the foot here by trying to bring up this issue. It was a nonsense issue. Like, it was not supposed to be such a big deal. She deleted the video, because the masters did not approve, and you still bring her on just to talk about a song that she was singing. Like, you could not pick up, you could not find like another topic to talk about. And Piers Morgan, he's just a typical coward. You know what's interesting? Piers Morgan, for example, I'm starting to like notice this. He's like really tough when he's around women. And so when he was debating Jackson Hinkle was supposed to be his opponent, and his ally was Konstantin Kisin, a soy boy. And so the soy boy was sitting right here on where Pearl is sitting. That's where Konstantin Kisin was sitting. And Piers Morgan invited his ally to sit right here in the studio with him to back him up. And then his opponent, Jackson Hinkle, they were talking through Skype or whatever they were using, like through satellite. And so I'm thinking, why not just fly out Jackson Hinkle to the studio and have him right there on the show, sit right across from you, talk to you face to face. And then in this segment right here, he brings his opponent, a female opponent, Pearl in this case, and she's in the studio. And then his ally is speaking through a webcam, right? And his ally is also another woman. And so, I'm just thinking, is Piers intimidated by actual strong alpha males? And he's just not inviting them to his studios? But then again, he did invite Andrew Tate to his show. But then again, I don't know. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. But I'm just curious. So, but then I just realized he did invite Andrew Tate on his show. So I don't know. But yeah, but he's totally so tough right now. Look at this guy, huh? He's so tough and he's so smart. I'm so smart, Pearl. I know where to draw the line. There's not supposed to be any line, especially on a show called Uncensored. It's a total contradiction. Change the name of your show, bro. Your show has nothing to do with freedom of speech.
I think that anyone should be allowed to speak about any conspiracy theory on social media. That is my point. It's not about Hitler. It's not
if
about
you really
the
believe what you
Holocaust.
did wasn't wrong, you wouldn't have deleted it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Don't you think?
I agree with Pearl.
Go on, bro.
If I may just say one thing, as an attorney, I have to say that I do agree with her, that I am a free speech purist. And I think that even bigotry should be able to be spoken in the public sphere. But the problem of cancel culture is not against anti-Jewish speech. I think that's very clear. We see the scourge of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred rising on the internet. The problem is that there's no consequences for it. And the way
is the tribal hatred in the room with us right now? Do you feel its presence? Seriously? What is she talking about?
that private companies
how are there no consequences
are,
for it?
Canceling is they're going after pro-Jewish speech. They're going after pro-Israel speech. I can't tell you how many times I'm contacted by people, and often my own clients, who are shut down on social media for saying anything positive.
Who are your clients? Because last I checked, Ben Shapiro still has a show on YouTube. Dennis Prager still has PragerU videos on YouTube. It's like, now here's the thing. If I were to here, no, not me. I'm not going to bring myself as an example because I'm not that big. But Nick Fuentes, like, he's more of a popular guy, more popular than me. He gets canceled simply for saying what he's saying. And like, this woman's totally contradicting herself. How come all the people who say the same things Nick Fuentes says, they're the ones who are canceled? Yet she's bringing up some examples. I don't think they're real. I personally think she's straight up lying, or maybe the clients that she's talking about, maybe somebody said something mean on the internet, and that's probably what it is. Oh, they're totally discriminating against us, and she mentions Israel. Well, to be fair, so she mentions Israel. So to be fair, the left wing does have this element of anti-Israeli element. But simultaneously, they're not like anti-tribal. Like they would still condemn Nick Fuentes. They would still condemn a lot of the stuff that Nick Fuentes says. And so, yes, I guess what's going on here is that she's conflating being anti-Israel as being anti-Semitic. But what is anti-Semitic? Anti-Semitic, because being Semitic means that you're not just an Israeli, you're also an Arab. And I think Syrians are also Semites, and I think other people are also Semites. But basically, Arab people are Semitic people too. So, so basically, when someone says they hate Palestine, they hate Palestinians, does that make them anti-Semitic too? But like this Goldstein right here, this Goldstein lawyer, like she definitely would not agree with what I just said. But it's the truth. Semitic people are also Arabs, so anti-Semitic makes no sense. So to be anti-Israel does not necessarily mean you're anti-Semitic, because a lot of lefties are anti-Israel, but they're not against the tribe. They're not against the tribal people. But let's keep watching this. It's almost over.
About Jewish people, about Judaism, or about Israel. Yet these social media companies are unequally applying their own standards. And, while they're, for example, shutting down COVID deniers, they are allowing Holocaust denial speech.
That is BS. Okay, now the true part was social media is shutting down COVID deniers. Okay, yeah, everyone agrees with that. But she's totally lying when she says that they're not shutting down Holocaust deniers. And here's my question. Okay, even if they weren't, what should they? Like why should they? Like if you're a free speech absolutist, she just claimed she's a free speech absolutist. Yes, she wants to shut down people who deny certain bad things that happened during World War II. People like her, seriously, would call me a Nazi simply for saying, "Hey, I just think the numbers don't add up." I'm not saying stuff didn't happen. And in reality, yeah, I still believe stuff happened. Like, basically, there is evidence for actual grave sites. There's evidence for executions. The firing squads, all that stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff is there. But the numbers just don't add up. And of course, to be fair, I will say that the only people who bring up the ovens are only the Natsocks. And they're the ones who kind of, I guess, discredit themselves by bringing up the ovens only. When there's other methods of executions that were there. Multiple various ways for executions. And also, there were also crazy experiments that were going on, documented by actual German scientists. Not documented by the tribal industry, but actual German scientists. So you have these documentations, right? That they exist. But I will agree. Okay, yes, 6 million makes no sense. What's wrong with disagreeing with the mainstream narrative on the numbers? Like, why does the tribe get so offended when you simply just ask a question about the numbers? Seriously. And then like also, like, a lot of people notice that a lot of tribal members are basically in charge of creating Cornhub, other degenerate websites. Tribal members control like other industries. Yeah, and people notice this. So how come people cannot talk about this? Right? Like, what's wrong with talking about this? Asking questions. You're proving Pearl's point. You're simply proving Pearl's point. And because of people like you, Miss Goldstein, and Piers Morgan, because of you people, there's a rise in the NASOC movement. Because people are questioning, like, wait, like, why can't we talk about you? Oh, by the way, before I go any further with this video, I do have to mention, like, I have to bring this up because, earlier in the stream, I mentioned several times that I do have, like, this, like, third position idea, right? And so, like, because I don't really care about the tribal folks. I don't care about the NASOC folks. And just like Pearl, like, she doesn't care. It's just a song, right? It, like, she goes, this is just a song. And for me, it's also just a song. But, like, I believe that, like, German Mustache Man, he had some tribal blood. He's also part of the tribe. And he was also funded by the tribe. But guess what? Such statements like this will just anger a lot of NatSocs, and statements like this will get me labeled an anti-Semitic simply for just bringing that up. Like, how's that anti-Semitic? I'm just bringing up that the fact that it's possible, it's very possible that German Mustache Man was part of the tribe as well on his mother's side. No, sorry, on his father's side. Like, what's wrong with bringing that up? If someone has a disagreement with me, they could just talk to me on the internet about this. We could have a conversation. We could have a dialogue. And here's a question: like, why is it always them? Like, why is it always them who are always complaining? Like, why is it always them who are bringing up lawsuits every single time? Every single time they're bringing up a lawsuit about whatever. And for example, I don't have the pictures to show you, but my friend took some pictures of a restaurant in Massachusetts. And in the restaurant, like, it looks fancy and nice, but there are two signs. One sign straight up says, "In this restaurant, we hate Russia." And then there's another sign next to it that says, "All are welcome here." And here's the thing: you don't see Russians standing outside the restaurants protesting the restaurants. You don't see Russians trying to have a lawsuit. Like, maybe I should kind of go to that restaurant owner and tell him I'm suing him, and I'll hire myself a tribal lawyer to defend me. Because tribal lawyers, they are some of the best lawyers out there for sure. Like, yeah, and I'll have Miss Goldstein defend me. No, but seriously, you don't see any Russians out there screaming, we're being discriminated, despite the fact that, like, Russians are already starting to have a rise of, like, they're seeing a rise of Russophobia on the internet. They're seeing a rise of Russophobia in American society, but still, you don't see Russians actually trying to, like, lawyer up. You're not seeing Russians out there protesting, "Stop Russophobia." No. like we're just trying to kind of have a debate. Russians are trying to have a debate and conversation with people about the situation in Ukraine. They're trying to educate people about the Donbass. Russians are trying to teach people, trying to have a debate with people. But for some reason, the tribal members, they don't want to do this. The tribal members who are basically no longer living in fear, who are no longer living in a world where they're being destroyed, they're being persecuted. For some reason, the tribal members are still at it. And I'm looking at these people, and especially this Miss Goldstein right here. Listen, you were not there. You did not suffer through any of that anymore. Well, your people are no longer suffering that stuff anymore. And you were not even born back then. You grew up in luxury. And again, I don't know her backstory, but when I say luxury, I mean just in America, right? Just even if you're a poor person in America, right? You're still, kind of better off than a poor person in Africa. But still, like you grew up in a time where you could have so many opportunities, and you're a lawyer. So many of your people are doctors, and so on. And so many of your people have like control over so much industry. Yet for some reason, people cannot point that out. Why not? Like, what are you trying to hide? Like, is there something sinister behind you controlling everything? If there isn't, simply just talk about it. Just allow people to make their videos, their conspiracy videos, and then what you do, you just make counter videos, debunking those videos. Like, this is how like a lot of YouTubers became popular. They simply would debunk a lot of videos that they deemed nonsense. So if you're a free speech absolutist, you would not be fighting to censor somebody. You'd be actually just willing to have a rational debate. But according to Ms. Goldstein, you cannot have a rational debate with someone who is apparently anti-Semitic. Just ridiculous. What's interesting is that the tribal members, to this very day, like I don't know if she's a grandchild or a child of a victim of World War II, I don't know. But she was not there. She did not go through all that suffering. But still, she and the entire tribe, they'll constantly say, oh, we're monitoring the rise of anti-Semitism. Okay, so what? Like, you think in America people are just going to start persecuting you? And what's interesting, like they will start persecuting you if you just continue doing what you're doing. You're basically proving like the people you hate are correct. You're proving their point. Like you don't get it. Like, for example, like my ancestors, like my Russian ancestors, they went through so much suffering in World War II. So many of my people were murdered during World War II, much more, in much greater number than the tribal people. But you don't see me constantly complaining, like I need to stop this person's hate speech. It's so Russophobic. I'm gonna stop it. No, what do? I simply argue. I simply debate the person and try to prove them wrong. That's what I do. I don't call for censorship. I don't call for censorship while claiming to be a free speech absolutist. I actually try to have a conversation. I try to educate the dumb Russophobe. I try to have a conversation with them. And why is it always the tribe always complaining, like, about their people being persecuted all the time and suffering? And how many of them died in World War II? Well, even if your 6 guerrillion number was correct, 6 guerrillion of my people died, and today people are just being so mean to my people. Well, listen here. A lot of my people died in World War II. Around 30 million people. Try that. Try 30 million. And on top of that, there is an actual rise of Russophobia on the internet because of the whole conflict in Ukraine. And guess what? I'm still just having a normal conversation with people. I'm not trying to censor them. You on the other hand, like you and your tribe are basically like you're like fighting, trying to fight anti-Semitism by simply making people more anti-Semitic. That's what you're doing. You're fighting to cancel people while you're claiming that Pearl's not canceled. This whole video probably was a trap to get her canceled. And I don't really care about Pearl. I'm not a fan of her. But in this situation, I'm forced to actually just like defend her position at the moment. Like, and she's straight up lying. Goldstein is straight up lying. Oh, we're seeing this rise in anti-Semitism and people are blocking pro-Israel, pro-Jewish speech. Get out of here. Stop lying. Ben Shapiro has a show. A lot of other JQ folks have a show. Stop lying.
Are allowing people like Pearl to spew her hatred. So if we are really free.
So if they're allowing Pearl to spew her hatred, why was Pearl forced to delete her song? I mean, like, why did Pearl delete her song? Seriously. If she's allowed to spew her so-called hatred, then why is she deleting her song? Why is she not keeping it on her Twitter account? Seriously, this Goldstein woman, she's making me sick. Like, just so infuriated right now.
Speech purists, and that's what we are saying that companies should do. They should allow all speech.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen,
Well, if they should allow all speech, then what's the big deal? Shut up and suck it up. Deal with it. If you have a problem with it, go comment on her Twitter section. Make a comment, an angry comment. Say, hey, I don't like this. You know, you're making me angry. Whatever. But don't try to go out of your way by trying to get her canceled while trying to make this false claim that you believe in all freedom of speech. I'm a free speech absolutist, but I want to get you canceled. Shut up. Now, seriously, I want to silence you. Like, I want you to shut up. I want you to stay silent. And I want you to know your place. And yes, I'm so glad, I'm so glad Pearl actually defends the destruction of the 19th Amendment, because guess what? Women like you definitely should not be voting. You don't deserve any rights. But where's your husband, by the way, Miss Goldstein? Yeah, guys, I guarantee she's probably not even married. Now, I could be wrong, but whatever. But most likely, she's probably some Catwoman lawyer, and she's just trying to pick a fight with Pearl because Pearl just says some mean things about women on the internet.
I would just say this to you, Pearl.
Unless it's incitement to immediate violence.
Right. I would say this to you, Pearl.
That's what Pearl said. Like Pearl said, you know, she's against violence, you know, like basically like she's for people saying whatever they want as long as it does not incite violence. That's literally what Pearl said earlier in the segment.
So we agree.
No,
wow.
Pearl, I would say this to you in conclusion.
We're all on the same team now.
In conclusion, look, you deleted this, so you clearly felt bad about what you'd put up, or you wouldn't have deleted it. You accept.
What a moron. Seriously, like this guy. No, it's because Pearl simply could not afford to lose her livelihood because a bunch of tribals felt offended. A bunch of members of the tribe got into a hissy fit. That's why she deleted it. She could not afford to get canceled. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if this whole segment was eventually to get more attention towards Pearl, and so the YouTube execs would be like, yeah, let's ban her, and then TikTok bans her, and then she has no platform anywhere, maybe Rumble, but that's it. She loses her livelihood. So of course it makes sense why she deleted the song, because a bunch of people like you, Piers, like cannot take a joke.
Accept that.
No.
You don't accept it.
I just, it's kind of a headache. I was like, well, it just seems like a lot of headache to me.
Right. Or did you realize actually in that moment, from the visceral reaction from the Jewish community, you crossed a line that you yourself should have worked out was there?
Well, so the tribal people, they determine where the line is. Okay, so what if they're offended? Who cares? Like, what happened to the good old days in the 90s, in the early 2000s? You could make a joke about anybody. It was just a joke. Seriously. Like, Piers Morgan, what's funny is that he's bringing on all these people he's bringing on all these woke people to debate them, and then now he's acting like a woke person right now. He's become everything he's been fighting against, because he's had good segments in the past. Now all of a sudden he's just embracing this whole woke ideology. Oh, don't make these jokes. They're offensive to these people. Who cares?
Look, at the end of the day, Piers, the song was about freedom of speech. It wasn't one way or the other. The song was about.
And the irony is that I'm a monarchist. Like, in reality, like I'm all pro big government, but I understand, as a monarchist, I understand more about a constitutional republic and how it works, how the system works, and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And last time I checked, there's a thing called the First Amendment. And I, as a monarchist, like, I understand the First Amendment more than these lovers of democracy. Seriously, think about this. A monarchist is schooling democracy lovers on what democracy really is. And the reason why, like, I'm bringing this up is because it's just kind of interesting how like I'm able to school them on this whole situation. I know more about democracy than lovers of democracy. Like, I lost my train of thought right here, but I'll just play the video, but I'll get back to it.
Why can't we have these conversations on social media? And why do I keep getting...
About why Hitler may be a good guy.
And why do I keep seeing people get banned on social media? My point is, I don't think there should be a line unless you're inciting violence.
Here's a line.
Piers, would we agree on that?
Listen,
yes or no? Yes or no? Will we agree?
Here's my point.
No, yes,
you haven't answered my question.
Okay.
I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. I want to know why what?
We can't have the conversation without being canceled by the left and the right. I just don't understand why you guys edit. You guys cut out the end of the song.
Paul.
You did 75. Okay.
The conversation about whether Hitler was a good guy. You want to have that conversation?
I think that.
Why not have the conversation? Okay. If there's a guy out there who just has that opinion, have a conversation with them. Prove them wrong. So, like, okay, what line is being crossed here? Like, here's the thing. If I lived under a monarchy, like, as a monarchist, then yes, I totally get the whole censoring. You know, don't speak out against the monarch. You know, don't say anything bad about the monarch. I get it. I get that. Like, that's how a monarchy should work. You know, we have to defend our sovereignty, our monarchy. We must fight for it, and we cannot allow people like saying like bad things about it. But currently, I, as a monarchist, am stuck in a constitutional republic. And so I, as a monarchist, know more how democracy works than Piers does. Think about this. A monarchist knows more how democracy works than a democracy lover.
He murdered 12 million people,
my whole
including 6 million Jewish people.
Wait, 12 million? Okay, yeah, I could totally like go off on Piers and just accuse him of being a Russophobe because, like he says 12 million people. Okay, well, like isn't a German mustache man also not responsible for like the deaths of 30 million, Russian people, Soviet people. What about that? And again, like if I was on Piers Morgan, I simply told him, hey, I just don't think it was 6 million. I think it was more like 500,000. He would call me a denier. He would label me a denier. Seriously. And despite the fact that I'll tell him, no, I don't deny anything. I'll tell him, I believe there were people murdered. I believe there were crazy experiments. I believe a lot of stuff. I just don't think the numbers add up. I just don't think it was 6 million. Maybe it was 500,000. Maybe it was 250,000. That right there, like that part right there, like when if I tell him that I believe everything, I just don't, I just don't believe the numbers, that'll just go over his head. Like he'll just dismiss all of that, and he'll keep calling me a denier. And so what if someone is a denier on the internet? That's the point of the internet. It's for people to engage, have fun. The internet is basically the one place where people could just escape and like communicate with each other and just have this, like, I guess you could say, anarchy, where you could just exchange ideas. But then people like Piers Morgan don't want you to be smart. They don't want you to think for yourself. That's why Piers Morgan is trying to actually censor you, not uncensor you, but censor you. And this label is misleading right here. It's misleading. So.
My whole point is we should be able to have that conversation.
But whether he's a good guy.
Yes, because it causes more commotion when you're starting to censor people.
I don't agree.
Like, I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to censor.
I don't agree. When you start to censor people, people start to ask more questions. Wait a minute, why are you censoring me? Like, it sounds like your opponent's correct there, Mr. Morgan. Oh, I don't agree. Seriously? Like, has Piers Morgan not seen V for Vendetta? And I hate that movie. I hate V for Vendetta. It's a dumb movie. It's really dumb. It's stupid. But I'm just saying, like, in this situation, in this current situation, like, Piers Morgan, like, does he not see the irony here? Does he not see himself as that one crazy TV host in the movie? Wow. Just wow.
Censor anybody.
Well, you know what? You can have that conversation. You had that conversation. You posted it. You haven't been cancelled. I've had you on the show because I thought you might, with time, to think about this.
And this might be the last time she's on your show. So, in essence, she basically is my words got tied there in my tongue. So basically, in essence, she basically is canceled. She's canceled basically already. Like she still has a platform, but like I would not be surprised if sometime soon she'll have no platform anywhere because of this segment, because of this show. All because of a song. So yes, she's not canceled right here, but like she's probably going to be canceled in the future. So yeah, like I just would not be surprised if like this whole show is a trap to kind of bring her on there and then to cancel her later.
Regret what you did because you can clearly, you're not stupid. You do understand the offence it caused, and wanting to have the right to debate whether Hitler's a good guy is just cretinous.
No, I want anybody to be able to speak on any platform. That was the point of the song.
All right, let's leave it
Can
there.
I point out a nuance here?
I've got Brooke, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but thank you for coming on the programme. I greatly appreciate it. And Pearl, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. But thank you.
Point of the song.
All right, let's leave it
Can
there.
I point out a nuance here?
I've got Brooke, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but thank you for coming on the programme. I greatly appreciate it.
Uh-oh. Piers Morgan, he interrupted the tribal, by the way. You know, what's interesting is that when the tribal was speaking the entire time, Piers, as the host, he did not interrupt the tribal. But he interrupted Pearl for some reason. Multiple times. Like basically, why did the tribal get to speak, but Pearl, like, she was supposed to be interrupted by Piers? Like watch the whole segment. Like, just watch it. Like, Piers is simply interrupting Pearl every time she tries to speak. But then when the tribal speaks, she just goes off on her rant. Oh, there's a rise in anti-Semitism online. BS. BS. There is no rise. Maybe there is some rise because, you're kind of flaming the fire there. You're putting flaming the fuels of anti-Semitism by yourself. You're doing this yourself. You're doing this to yourself. You're basically making people hate you by trying to censor others. But why can't we question this? Why can't we question this? Well, you're not allowed to talk about this. Why? But why? I just want to talk about this. You can't talk about this. Why not? Why can't I talk about this? Seriously. Oh, if you talk about this, it's anti-Semitic. Seriously? Just to bring this up, it's anti-Semitic? I just have questions. I just want to know, why can't we talk about you? Why can't we talk about you owning all these other industries? If you have nothing to hide, just talk. That's all you got to do. You don't see, seriously, you don't really see any other groups aside from BLM. BLM copied some of this. Basically, for example, let's say if a Jewish person is a bank, or let's say a Jewish criminal attacks someone, he's trying to rob them, right? Okay, let's say this. Let's start over again. Here's a scenario. So you're being robbed by a burglar, and the burglar is saying, right, give me all your money, all this stuff, and then you pull out a gun and then you just shoot the burglar, right? And the burglar ends up being a tribal. And I would not be surprised if the tribe says, "Oh, the guy who shot him, let's look at his history. He's probably anti-Semitic." And so BLM, they kind of took that idea. So, if someone from the BLM movement attacks another person, and that victim, at the very last minute, pulls out a gun and shoots the person representing the BLM movement, BLM would be like, "Oh, you hate black people." Seriously, self-defense makes you racist now. And so BLM copied this idea where, if you attack one of us, boom, you're a racist. And here's the thing, a lot of people that I dislike, they say a lot of Russophobic stuff. They do. But at the same time, they themselves may not understand, but at the same time, they may not actually be Russophobes. They might say some dumb things, some dumb Russophobic stuff, but they may not necessarily hate Russians. They just might hate Putin and some Russians who support Putin, which is basically most of the country. But that's not the point. But that doesn't mean they hate all Russians, because you don't see any other nationality act like this. It's usually the tribe and BLM. It's usually them a lot of times. And the rainbow flag community too. And by the way, the rainbow flag community is full of the tribals. So is there a correlation there? Oh, I wonder if this video will get canceled, by the way. So I don't know. Yeah, but this is my rant. So yeah, I had to defend Pearl on this one. I had no choice. I'm definitely not a fan of Pearl. I do hope Pearl eventually will just repent and become Orthodox, and she'll stop making dumb videos, and I'll be able to defend her a lot more. But yes, but I had no choice. I had to defend Pearl on this one. Okay, well, that's the rest of the stream. I'm basically out of my ginger ale with vodka, so yeah, I think I might do another stream pretty soon, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. Right? Y'all have a good one.